WFMY News 2 meteorologist Ed Matthews. Thank you for joining me on WFMY Plus. Beginning now and every hour through the afternoon, we're going to feature updates on WFMY Plus about the possibility of strong or severe storms later today and this evening. Of course, with the anticipation of maybe some strong to severe storms, today, Monday, is a weather impact alert day, and we're going to be focused on the time in our western counties around 2 p.m., but the threat runs up until around midnight, especially if we get a secondary area of thunderstorms to develop after the first line moves through. The second one would be along the cold front. That's not a guarantee, but some of our models are suggesting. So we're going to stay vigilant right on through midnight. Once the front moves down east, no more worries about severe weather. Strong and severe storms are a possibility. Keep an eye on the forecast and do what you're doing right now. Keep an eye on WFMY Plus, and of course, we will be providing you with those hourly updates. Here's what we're looking at. So far, no rain this morning, and the rest of the morning may stay dry, but as we head through the afternoon, rain and scattered storms are a possibility. They will linger into the evening hours. If we get enough heating of the day, we could see some strong and severe storms that would produce damaging wind gusts. And I'm talking about wind gusts maybe around 60 miles per hour. That combined with hail is what dubs a storm to be severe. And again, they're more likely to happen around the storms, but even the environmental winds will be a bit brisk as that cold front gets closer. We'll be on the lookout for gusty winds, the possibility of some hail, and we couldn't rule out an isolated tornado, but thankfully for the large hail and the isolated tornado threat, that is generally very, very low. Now, whenever we have a severe weather threat, I'm always looking for reasons to kind of say, well, I feel optimistic about maybe very little in the way of severe weather. I'm going to go through the radars and show you what I'm looking at as possibilities. Not guarantees, but possibilities that may curb severe weather later on today. First, we take a look at the big view of the live radar, and we've been watching this line of showers and storms. The northern end of it is just really kind of fizzled out, and a little leftover rain is moving through western North Carolina. Although not much, it's a good thing because that area needs it for the forest fires. But look at all these heavy downpours, and earlier, not so much now, but we have had tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings over portions of Alabama into southeastern areas of Mississippi and around New Orleans, Louisiana. As these track to the east, could that line of storms kind of rob moisture from being transported into our part of the Piedmont. That's a possibility, not a guarantee, but if it did happen, that would help to limit severe storms later on this afternoon. But again, we're going to remain vigilant. Another thing I'm looking at is what we've got overhead right now, and that's a lot of cloud cover. I've been watching several waves of rain. One is already dissipated and not even showing up on the radar. The second one is dying out rather quickly, and then there's a third one that we'll talk about in just a minute. But although these showers are weakening, at one time they were a part of a line of strong and severe storms with severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings out over the Midwest yesterday afternoon and into the overnight period. And our forecast models have done a great job in weakening this line as it moves into western North Carolina. But places like Asheville and western North Carolina, where we've seen the forest fires recently, they're getting some very beneficial rain. Still questionable as to where any of this would make it into the Triad before lunchtime. Now, some of our foothill locations may get a few spritz and sprinkles before lunchtime, but the leftover clouds, again, that's what we're going to be watching, is maybe to kind of prevent significant warming and that significant warming is part of the fuel that gets those severe thunderstorms going. Now I am looking at another batch of rain, non-severe weather, but some heavy downpours over central Tennessee, although robust at the moment as these track into eastern Tennessee and especially western North Carolina this morning and through midday. They are expected to weaken as well. Look at all the cloud cover. I love it. You know, we like a sunny day, but not on a day when we could have severe weather. Overcast skies, and I think that is going to be the case right on through the rest of the day. And again, not a guarantee that it would curb severe weather, but it is a possibility. And we're just being hopeful. Anyway, any signs, good positive signs that we can find to limit severe weather, we definitely tell you about them. Now, even though I'm being optimistic about those elements I talked about to curb severe weather, we've got to face reality and realize that we're in category or level 3, the enhanced risk for severe weather. This is this large area of orange that includes all of central North Carolina. The foothills and the mountains are in level 2. Now that's what we're saying here is that the players are on the football field. We got to see how they interact and how much daytime heating we get as we head through the afternoon. A little closer inspection, you can see this orange area covers much of the Triad and points onto the east. Again, the yellow area into southern Virginia and out west of Winston-Salem is level 2. The time frame we're looking at roughly, and this may change as things unfold during the afternoon, about 2 p.m. in some of our foothill locations up till about midnight. But I caution maybe the threat of severe weather over with before midnight. But we're going until midnight for the threat because some of our forecast models are suggesting a second line of rain and thunderstorms that may develop when the cold front, right ahead of the cold front, when it moves through the area around 10 or 11 o'clock. And all the severe weather parameters are on the table. Of course, any severe storms producing wind gusts over 60 miles per hour for damaging straight line winds. There is a possibility of large hail, although that threat has decreased somewhat since yesterday. And there is a threat of tornadoes, but thankfully that threat of tornadoes is very, very low. Another way of looking at this, a greater threat you see, and this is a moderate threat, are wind gusts of 40 miles per hour or higher. Even over the larger environment, we could have gusty winds as the front approaches, but these stronger winds up to 60 miles per hour plus will be in the vicinity of strong or severe storms. There is a hail and tornado risk, but again, it is much, much lower, and the flood risk from any heavy downpours is very low as well. So the cold front stays to our west. This is midday. I don't see the front moving through our part of the Piedmont until just before midnight. But once it moves on through, the severe weather threat is over with. It'll move offshore, and this area of high pressure is going to be building in overnight tonight. So after the threat through the evening, I think after midnight, the sky will become partly cloudy. We'll dip into the upper 40s after being in the mid 70s today. A little cooler tomorrow, more noticeable to our north, but a beautiful Tuesday coming up with upper 60s. By Wednesday, we'll be up around 70. This same area of high pressure is going to move off the east coast. We get on the backside, high pressure builds in the upper atmosphere. You know what's going to happen on Thursday and Friday? We could actually have temperatures in the mid 80s. But the good news, it's a little too early in the season to be worrying about high humidity. So 85 will feel like 85 later this week. We do encourage you to stay with us all day long until this front moves through later this evening. Of course, we'll keep you updated. Also, very, very beneficial if you download the WFMY News 2 weather app. It's like having your own weather station in the palm of your hand. You can get radar updates, live radar and track the storms along with us. And also any severe watches or warnings that are issued, you can get them on that app. Download it. It's absolutely free, and it is certainly a necessity, not only on a daily basis, but certainly in times of the potential for severe weather. So a few showers up through midday, and then we'll be on the lookout and see how things play out as we head through mid-afternoon and into the evening for scattered, possibly severe storms. Temperatures today for highs up into the mid-70s. We'll see some evening storms, but I expect most of this activity to be out of our